benefited from very generous scholars that were very generous with me, with their time, never asked me for money, and I'm just doing what they told me to do, which was, if you learn something, you should teach it. That's it. But I really don't have a group, so I want everybody to be very aware of that. Concerning changing our condition, when we as Muslims accuse somebody of something, we must have witnesses and concrete evidence. It is not lawful that we accuse somebody of something that they are not, yet there are those who deny what you accuse them of. So I respectfully ask, are you a Sufi? And I would say to that question, definitely not. No, I am not a Sufi. And I would say also, to qualify that statement, I think it's very important when we use that word, we distinguish, as the classical scholars generally did, between what are called the Sufiya and the Mutasawwifa. The Sufiya, according to Orientalists, is anybody that claimed they were a Sufi. The Sufiya, to the traditional Muslims, were usually called Al-Qawm, and they were people like Fudayl ibn Iyad, like Malik bin Dinar, like Hassan al-Basri, like Abu Sa'id al-Khayri, like Imam al-Junayd of Baghdad, Sidi Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, those type of people who were ulama, and they were very sincere people, and they were especially concerned with the diseases of the heart and in helping people rectify the diseases of the heart. And that was traditionally what was understood as it was called tasawwuf, it was called ihsan, it was called suluk, which is a very common term for that. And it was considered, and still is, one of the sciences of Islam. Matharat al-Qulub is a book that's studied in Mauritania about that, which is looking at diseases like hasad, like bughd, like riya, like ujub, and attempting to rectify those diseases by first identifying them, identifying their causes, and then giving cures that are based on the book and the sunnah. Imam al-Junayd himself said, عِلْمُنَا هَذَا مُقَيَّدٌ بِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ وَسُنَّةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Our science is directly connected to the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And he also said, مَنْ لَمْ يَحْفَظ الْقُرْآنِ وَلَمْ يَكْتُبْ الْحَدِيثِ فَلَا يَتَكَلَّمْ فِي عِلْمِنَا هَذَا. Whoever does not know the Quran and has studied the hadith should not speak in this science. Now later, there came a group of people called the Mutasawwifa, and they outwardly would dress like these people, and sometimes they would use their expressions, and many of them used it as a way of gaining money, of gaining followers, and things like this. The peer syndrome in some areas of the world. And you find this also in the Muslim country. In the Wasila, Mukhtar wal-Buna, which is a text on Aqidah that's studied in Mauritania, he says, وَعَاشَ بِهَا الْقَوْمُ خَيْرَ عِيشَةٍ فَصُيَّرَتْ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ مَعِيشَةً يُدَعَ الَّذِي يَمْشِي عَلَيْهِ سَالِكٌ وَسَالِكُهُ الْيَوْمَ حِزْبٌ هَالِكٌ. That this qawm, these people, they used to live the best way of living, which is zuhd in dunya. And then after that it became a means of gaining livelihood. They used to call the one who went on that path a salik. And the salik of today is halik. It means that they're destroyed. And he wrote that a few hundred years ago. Sidi Hamza Yusuf, in his Qawa'id al-Tasawwuf, said that really the real people of this science are gone. Right? So there are many people that are really best to be called just pseudo-practitioners who call people to doing practices, and they don't teach them knowledge, because people have to learn the deen. And in the Sidi ibn Ashar, which is a text that I studied in Mauritania, it's a traditional text, and I studied with Murabit al-Hajj, The first section is on Iman, the middle section is on Islam, and the last section is on Ihsan, and he calls it the Bab al-Tasawwuf, Mabadi al-Tasawwuf, and he just talks about taqwa, about husul al-taqwa, imtithal awamirillah, ijtinab nawahillah, about ghad al-basar, about lowering the eyes, guarding the ear from hearing bad things. That's what he says. So, there's a lot of craziness in the Muslim world that is called like tasawwuf, like grave, people that spend their whole days at graves and they say that those are Sufis and these type of things. And it's more like a folkloric Islam. And I would say that, but I'm not a Sufi. I really don't consider myself Sufi, and and I mean that. I'm not just saying that. There are Imam Hamza. There are many parents in Toronto who are concerned about your classes. They say you're into Sufism. Again, I don't have like tariqah. I don't give tariqah. People know. I mean, the people that have been in my classes, they know. There's people here who know. I don't have bay'ah. I don't. I'm not. This is not some secret thing. Like you have to. Be in the group, and then I'll introduce you into the higher esoteric secrets. I guarantee you, I'm not making this up. So, in the Muslim Ummah, specifically in the West, what do you think is the primary issue Muslims should focus on in order to improve our condition with respect to the ayah? Allah will not change the condition of the people until they change the condition of themselves. That ayah tradition was interpreted to mean you don't go from good to bad until you stop thanking Allah. It didn't have the modern interpretation is to switch it around. Because we're in ni'mah, I guarantee you. We're in such a ni'mah. If you just look, wallahi, we're in ni'mah, and if you begin to thank Allah for the ni'mahs that we're in, Allah will increase you in those ni'mahs. And if we always focus and look at the worst of the Muslims, it just gets worse. So although we have to recognize that there are very serious troubles and things, we also must recognize the deep blessings that this ummah has. That Allah put our punishment in this world, not in the next world, inshallah. It's a hadith of the Prophet. إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَعَلَ عَذَابَكُمْ فِي دُنْيَاكُمْ. He put your punishment in this dunya. The things that happen to us are nothing compared to the other people. So I really, what we have to do is start showing gratitude, articulating gratitude, changing the way we think, becoming less negative, beginning to change our behavior and our character, and certainly beginning to take control of our tongues in attacking and slandering and doing all these things to each other, because it's horrible. I mean, look how many hospitals all over the world that exist, and yet the mosque is supposed to be a hospital for the hearts. And there's people that now go to the mosque and it makes them sicker. They get sicker going to the masjid because everybody's fighting, everybody's attacking. Every group is just rejoicing in what they have. Tanabuz bil alqab, throwing, this is that, and he's that, and he's that, and just attacking and doing all these things. So, about segregated masjids, I think that at one level it is a very natural phenomenon for groups, for cultures to be together. That is a perfectly natural phenomenon. When it becomes asabiyya is when it becomes a danger. In other words, nobody can come, like, for instance, the Libyans who I'm very close with, there's a Libyan community, they're a very tight-knit community. But there are people that come in who are Palestinian, who are Jordanian, who are Syrian, and there's not a type of asabiyya, oh, he's not one of us. So it's natural that people that share cultures, that share language, that share food, and these type of things, it's very natural for them to be together. But if it becomes where that's that group out there, it becomes a type of ethnicity and things like that, and then you have serious problems. And there's a lot of racism trouble. You've mentioned marketing yourself as a kind of shirk. I don't remember saying that. I just said it's a disease of the modern society, but I didn't think that I called it shirk. If I did, I certainly didn't mean that. But in such a competitive society, well, competitive capitalism is da'ul ummah according to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, that I don't. الفقر لا أخشى عليكم إنما أخشى عليكم أن تبسط عليكم الدنيا فتنافسوها. I worry not poverty for you, but wealth, that you begin to compete for it. So wealth becomes competition. And it destroys you, كما أهلكت الذين من قبلكم, and it will destroy you just as it destroyed the people. It's called competitive. You mentioned Syria, in a situation in Algeria, could further elaborate, subhanAllah. It's tragic. I mean, now they have some Algerian soldiers that they refused to, they fled to France, and they were saying that, the government was having them grow beards and put on robes and go into villages and kill people, and